Welcome everyone. We've got Suzy Jacobs. She's sitting on the other side of the computer from me today. Now, Suzy Jacobs is from She Business, and I have to say she's so fabulous. I absolutely love her, and I'm so excited to have her here today. Welcome, Suzy.
Thank you, Wendy. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
Now, I want to firstly start by saying that I love Suzy because she is not only just the face and founder and the brains behind She Business, but she's also always so well put together. She's got this fabulous professional look. She's so stylish, and I just love the entire package. And that's absolutely why I take my hat off to you. Plus, she's got an amazing business in She Business, which we're going to talk about today.
Thanks.
Now, we had the pleasure of actually meeting a few years ago and then reconnecting recently. And I really wanted to invite Suzy to join us because I know a lot of our audience out there are starting out in their business and they often have a lot of growth barriers. So they're really struggling to take their business to the next level. And I think Suzy can give us some really great insight there. So I'm just going to give everyone a quick overview, a little intro about Suzy. So Suzy is the founder and CEO of She Business, Australia's leading business club for women. She has an audacious goal, she says, to secure the financial future of 100,000 business women. Suzy loves working with all the courageous and talented women who want to build a business, not on the back of stuff like secrets to success or quick fixes, but actually delivering the best business advice, access to life-changing personal development, and a strong and supportive community. And I actually have had the pleasure of sitting in a couple of She Business sessions, both as a participant and as a speaker, and I cannot say more about the dynamic and the support of the women in those groups. I can definitely attest to that. Now, Suzy spent 2013 systemizing, growing, and developing the She Business model, and this year the focus is on franchising and working with women who want to take the She Business research, methodology, and offerings to their part of the world. So I'm guessing this could be global, Suzy.
Indeed. If you're going to
Fantastic.
have a goal, if you're going to have a vision, I say have a big one.
Fantastic. Audacious, right? So let's start with Suzy. I've got a few questions for you. I would love to find out what's She Business? How did it come about? How did you arrive at where you are today with She Business?
Wendy, that's a huge question. There are so many stories that make up the journey, which brings me to this point today. It's about economic empowerment for women. It is truly about having women win in the game of business and to be able to provide the most incredible environment for women to access, and as you said, the mindset, the business acumen, and the community to ensure that they secure their financial future through their business endeavors. And so originally I started in a networking environment. I brought a network out from the UK. But what I certainly saw very quickly into it is that we needed to be doing a whole lot more for women. And so I created She Business, and it was on the back of gender research. So every aspect of She Business has been created understanding how women like to learn, collaborate, share, do business, and to address the things that we're great at and acknowledge those, and also to work with some of the things that may be holding us back in business that we might not be aware of.
Any examples of what those might be?
Sure. So we have this great segment called Get Sassy. And Sassy is an acronym that I created a couple of years ago, and it stands for Sing Your Own Praises, Ask for What You Need, Stand Out when you're at big events, and Speak Up when you're in meetings. Have your voice heard. And the Y stands for you, because I think it's very easy for us to point the finger at others, and we need to be pointing the finger back at ourselves. So that acronym came from some research out of Europe in 2011, which shows that men outperform women in those 4 key areas every time. And this is why they do better in certain aspects of business. So we took that research and used it to underpin just one aspect of our business membership.
That's amazing. I love that. I love that the whole concept is underpinned by something that's really concrete and research based. So you're not just sort of plucking it from the air or grappling at straws.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so, Wendy, it was really important for me, in my humble opinion, if we're going to have women only there has to be a purpose to it.
Mm.
Otherwise, have men and women there. But we are the journey for women in business is different to that of men. Not better or worse, just different. And it's important that we have open and honest conversations about all of this stuff so we can progress and take ourselves forward and truly imprint our view and version of business on the greater economy.
Fantastic. So on that, actually, it's probably a nice little intro into my next question, which is because you clearly are using a lot of solid grounding within the She Business concept, how did you, or what process did you go through when you were deciding to start up She Business? Because I know there's a lot of my audience out there that are thinking about, side business, or have side businesses and are thinking about ditching the day job, but aren't really sure, is this really going to be a sustainable business? I mean, what process did you go through for She?
That's a great question, and a lot of it has been driven by my absolute commitment. So to the process. So I always talk about having big dreams, and big dreams give any business owner the focus they need to keep them on track. So when those obstacles come, when those hills are just huge and you feel like you can't get over them, that focus, that goal is going to keep you on track. However, it's not enough. You need to have substance behind it. So one of the things that I've done is always invest in myself.
Okay.
So if you look at the lifespan of She Business, I haven't taken an increase in my earnings. Every cent gets invested back into She Business and gets invested back into my own personal business acumen and mindset.
Fantastic. So for you, you really do sort of, say invest in yourself and make sure you're continually growing and
every step. It never ceases. If you think that you can do this alone, and women have two extra genes to men, we have a guilt gene and a martyrdom gene, and we've been given this tag that says that we can multitask and that we can do many things. That's holding us back. We need to learn to give it away, to delegate it, and we need to ask for help.
Yeah. Or I say, in terms of personal growth and development, you never know what you don't know.
Absolutely.
You literally walk around in a bubble thinking, I know enough already, but you don't actually know how much more world and growth and knowledge is out there until you're actually there taking it in, going, wow.
And Wendy, when you're growing and you're growing a business, you will always hit the next ceiling of complexity. You'll always hit the next barrier.
Yeah.
And I'm the first to put up my hand and say, I don't know. I need help. And that's how I've gone about it.
Fantastic. Now, this year, you've started to focus on franchising the concept and the model. So any sort of, and I guess this is not necessarily specific to that, but I imagine that once you start going down the path of franchising, there must be a couple of roadblocks or things that, you think, oh gosh, that probably didn't quite pan out. Can you share with us some of the roadblocks that you've experienced with your business journey and how you overcame them? Yeah.
So see all these grey hairs here? That's a testament to the obstacles that have come our way. So what happened, Wendy, is that when She Business first started, in the first year, I met two women who loved what we were up to, and they bought a franchise. So we actually have two franchisees already in Sydney: Monica Brewer over in the west, and Tracy Daniel over in the Northern Beaches. Last year, we stopped our growth, so we've got 14 groups across Sydney, and we stopped that growth because we knew we had to refine our systems, put much more robust software behind our business, and make sure that our business model was right. And so we spent 2013 doing that. The obstacles have been so many. I can't tell you. The cost of franchising is huge. But in fact, I'm writing a blog at the moment which is about, I think that franchising is the best business model for women because it absolutely maximizes the time that we have available, and also the way women like to collaborate and share and learn is very much as a community, and that's what franchising is.
Yeah.
So although, again, I've hit lots of obstacles, legals, trademarking, as I said, just working through the business model and in creating those business models.
Yep.
And I don't have an accounting and finance background, it takes me a while to absorb it all. So once again, you're just going into spaces that you never really needed to master. Okay. And I've got great people around me, and I've got a great team. And once again, I think that our success is due to this community feel that everybody feels as though they own it and they're involved. And we have great conviction around what we do. So obstacles have been plenty, Wendy. Just lots.
Well, I think the franchising conversational blog is going to be something that I'd love to get you back on for a separate topic, because that's going to be hugely, I think, detailed and interesting to talk about.
Yeah.
So what would be your number one tip to help you overcome these obstacles?
A couple of things. The thing I think about obstacles, Wendy, and you probably agree, is that I don't think you can learn how to overcome obstacles from reading a book. You overcome obstacles becoming obstacles. And, there are times where I've thought, gosh, I wish my life was easier. Those obstacles, that experience is what's taught me how to overcome them. And there are bad days. There are days you don't want to get out from under the duvet. Yep. There are the days where your energy feels sapped. There are days that you just think, what am I doing? And really, all you need to do is get through that day. Just put one foot in front of the other. Just take action, and as much as possible, try to extricate yourself from the stories going on in your head.
Love that.
Yeah. And that's it. It's to see that those stories are actually not the reality. They're not the truth. And sometimes, and I've got a lot better at doing that. So sometimes when my story, oh my God, the drama, and how can I do this? I don't have the energy. I'm ignoring my kids. I can't, all that sort of stuff. I've just got, through practice, a lot better at dealing with it. And I do say to everyone, mindset is something for me that I work on regularly.
Yeah.
So if I feel as I'm going through a bad patch and obstacles are really overwhelming me, I take action, and I'll get an audio book of an Eckhart Tolle, or I will ask friends for what book they're reading so I can fill my brain, soak my brain with great messaging.
Yeah.
And that is the thing that helps me go on. And audiobooks are great because you can do it in the car, you can do it while you're cooking dinner or anything. Yeah.
I'm a huge audiobook fan myself. I have to say, going back to one of the first things that you said at the start of this question, taking that time out to rebuild, reassess, I can imagine that for someone like me, and I imagine you're very similar, we're doers, right? We're action takers. And so needing to actually stop growing your business so that you can reinvest back into it and actually take stock and build the right foundation for long-term growth would be at the same time frustrating, but also hugely important to recognize when you need to do that, when you need to just stop and actually just look internally and rebuild. So I love that. And I loved what you just said about taking stories out of your mind. Like, we are so good as women at just letting all of these internal thoughts take over, and then we just stop taking action. So I think that was fabulous. Thank you for that, Suzy.
Wendy, I'll just go back to your insight there.
Yeah.
Your insight about knowing when to stop growing as an action taker.
Yeah.
That's so poignant. Anyone listening, that you got it exactly. There were moments where I felt so frustrated and I just wanted to grow.
You want to keep going,
Yeah. So absolutely, there are times you think, oh my God, the market's moving so quickly. So once again, those stories and that, anxiety builds, and it's being able to, once again, manage your mindset and know that you're on the right path and just do what you need to do. And great insight.
Absolutely. I mean, you and I offline had a conversation about reinvention and needing to know when to reinvent. And that process takes time. And I've certainly, reinvented my career in terms of moving from one industry to another. And when you're in that process, you just need to know when it's time to stop, reinvent, take the steps that you need to get to that next destination point. But yeah, hugely frustrating sometimes. So.
Yeah.
Okay, your greatest success.
Yet to come.
Oh, greatest success to date.
It's a funny question, Wendy.
Yeah.
I would say my greatest successes are the stories that I hear along the way. I was at an event last night, and one of our members is a breast cancer survivor. And she has been for 2 years building this business to offer breast cancer survivors lingerie, which is sexy and gorgeous. And another one of our members was able to secure a business grant for her.
Oh, wow.
And that's a success.
Yes.
It is women empowering themselves, taking that journey up the next level. I get goosebumps thinking about it now. So they're the greatest successes. When I receive an email which says, "You're changing my life," that's where it's at for me.
Oh, I love that. It's the stories of the heart that get you all the time. Yeah. No, good on you. I think it's amazing that, you're right front and center facilitating this amazing environment for women to connect and do all of this great things that they're meant to do on this good earth.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, I'm going to finish up with one last question. I love this one. It's one that I ask a lot of people. If I gave you $1,000 today to start a brand new business, what would you use that money for?
I would use it to create a landing page,
Okay.
a dummy landing page, so that I could test what my product or service was in the market, and spend some of that money on sending some traffic there through SEO, AdWords, whatever, and that's how I'd spend money.
Fantastic. It's a great one. Thank you so much for that. Okay, Suzy, any last words?
Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Whenever I get an opportunity to talk, I love it because it gives us time to reflect. And you talked earlier about we're so much on the go and we're so much about moving forward. Reflection is such an important aspect of going forward in life and taking that time. So thank you for asking me.
You're so very welcome. I want to thank Suzy Jacobs again, and thank you, wonderful audience, for actually taking time out of your busy schedules to spend it with Suzy and myself. And if you have a chance, check out She Business. I'll make sure that I put a link onto this blog post, so underneath this video you'll be able to access the link to She Business. Thanks, Suzy.
My pleasure, Wendy. Have a great day.
You too.